Good evening, guys. Good evening, students. How are you? Everybody of you. So, students, yes, day before yesterday, we had learnt about two terms basically audit strategy and audit plan. We had also learned that why planning for an audit is important for auditor as per SA 300. We had also discussed the important distinctive points between audit strategy and audit plan. Besides that, we had also understood how the information for a client's business can be gathered. What are the relevant factors to be kept in mind regarding obtaining knowledge of client's business? And we had touched upon the topic of audit program. So today we will be discussing this subtopic of audit program in detail. So guys, audit program, as you know, audit strategy has been put in place, audit plan has been made. Now, audit program is a series of verification procedures which are used to obtain audit evidence. By deploying these procedures, the auditor obtains audit evidence. Now, what procedures are to be performed? To what extent checking is to be done? It is there in the audit program. It is stated there in the audit program. So, audit program becomes a very important tool for the engagement team members who are conducting the audit, because it is only from the audit program they come to know what type of checking is to be done, to what extent it is to be done, at what time it is to be done, regarding various elements of financial statements. Like say, the audit program might state different procedures for verification of purchases, for verification of sales, for verification of other heads of income, for verification of expenses, and for balance sheet items, for liabilities, for debtors, for inventories. So these all things are documented in audit program. Okay, guys. So therefore, for assistants carrying out the audit program becomes a very important document. Okay, because in this document, all the detailed plan, the responsibility is stated. Okay, so so again we will be seeing what is written in your module regarding audit program. So what is audit program, students? Definition of audit program is: audit program consists of a series of verification procedures to be applied to the financial statements and accounts of a given company. Say the financial statements have been presented to you for audit and accounts are also before you for audit. So how you have to conduct the audit, what procedures you have to apply, this is what audit program is all about. Okay, and what is the purpose? What is the purpose, final purpose of audit program? Purpose of audit program is to obtain what? Sufficient audit evidence. For what? To enable the auditor to express an informed opinion on such statements. This we had also done day before yesterday. So the audit program is a detailed plan. It is nothing but a detailed plan of applying what? Of applying the audit procedures. How audit procedures are to be applied in the circumstances, and what techniques are to be adopted for accomplishing the audit objectives. Okay, so clear, students? The meaning of audit program, is it clear to you? Now we will see, guys, before learning about different other aspects of audit program, I will try to show you a practical audit program. I will show you a practical audit program so that the concept of audit program becomes more clear to you, and I hope that it would be helpful to you. So this is a audit program, say, of a small concern. So here it is written name of the concern. Say what is the name of the firm. You can write any name. Say ABC and Co. Financial year prepared by who prepared it, name of that person, who reviewed it, and who approved it. Okay, and there follows audit program. Now, nature of procedure. First thing is general thing, what it is to be done. Understand accounting system of the firm, type of software used for the maintenance of books, and list. And there are 3 columns: extent of check, basis of sample selection, done. So done by whom? So in general, the engagement team has to write what are the list of books of accounts maintained by the firm or the by company. List of books of accounts. Okay, what type of software is used by the company for maintaining books of accounts? It can be Tally or some other software. Okay, and second point is then identify and assess risk of material misstatement in view of small nature of concern. Say we have assumed that this audit program is of a small concern. It is of a small entity. Let us assume it. It is of a small entity. So the next point states identify and assess risk of material misstatement in view of small nature of the concern. The concern is small. It is not a big company. So the team has to assess the risk of material misstatement. What can go wrong in such a concern? Review internal control activity, internal control system by going through the main activity areas, review of internal controls. So here the audit team, the engagement team, they have to give their comments, and everything is fixed. That this has to be done by whom? He has to write in his name and signatures across this, that this thing has been checked by that person. Okay. Now it lists, apart from general things, various audit procedures which are to be applied for verification of different elements of financial statements. Now it states for fixed assets, similarly for inventories, similarly for sundry debtors. Okay. Similarly for cash and bank balances. So let us say, let us see what is written in it for sales. So let us see, we take an example of sales. So what are the audit procedures in respect of sales? So we are taking an example of sales. So what audit procedures are to be performed? Vouch few sales invoices from copies available in record of the concern. First of all, check sale invoices from the copy available in the record of the concern, from the sale bills. Then trace these invoices in accounts books of the concern, whether the invoices which are placed in the sales file, these are entered in the account books. Now here it is not all, because when the audit program is uh, uh, drawn up, so here it would be written that you would do 25% of checkings, or say 10% of checking, or checking for these months. So these kind of things would be there. So when guys, practically you would be conducting audit, you would be getting an audit program, and on the basis of which you would be conducting the audit. Okay. Then C part is trace few invoices with the e-way bills generated on the e-way bill portal. So guys, you know, after the advent of GST, every sales, every movement from the premises of a concern, every movement of goods more than 50,000, more than 50,000 is to be accompanied by e-way bill. You might be studying it in your when you would be studying this GST law, or you might have already done it, is to be accompanied with e-way bill. Okay, so this gives auditor audit evidence. Say he would check from the e-way bill portal some of the invoices which have been whether e-way bill has been generated for these invoices. So he would be getting a comfort level, he would be getting a satisfaction, he would be obtaining sufficient evidence that in fact the goods have moved out of the premises of the company and sales have taken place. Okay, is it clear? Is it clear to you guys? Now, next is trace few sales invoices into the stock records to ensure that sold quantities have been reduced from stocks. Now, when you make sale of goods, obviously that quantity must be reduced from your stock records in respect of that item. So obviously, by applying this procedure, by checking this way, the auditor would be obtaining evidence that goods have been reduced from stocks. Okay. Now Ayush is asking another question. Ayush is asking why, when we audit books of accounts, why in module everywhere it is written that uh, we are auditing financial statements. Yes, Ayush, we are auditing financial statements, but practically speaking, we say audit of books of accounts because financial statements are the final outcome of the books of accounts. So the financial statements are presented to the auditor for auditing. Again, preparation of financial statements is not job of the auditor, is not his responsibility. preparation of financial statements is the primary responsibility of the management of the concern, of those charged with governance. Okay, so the financial statements which have been prepared on the basis of books of accounts are subject matter of audit. But practically you might say that in common language you might use the word that we are auditing books of accounts, but in fact you are auditing financial statements. That is why we say that financial statements are audited. When auditor gives his report, he also states we have audited financial statements of so and so company. We have audited accompanying financial statements comprising balance sheet and profit and loss account of so and so firm or so and so company for the year ended so and so. And these have been drawn up from the books of accounts. We do not say that we have audited books. We have audited the accompanying books of accounts. We give our opinion in this language that we have audited the accompanying financial statements, because the audit report would be accompanied by audited financial statements. First there would be audit report, then the financial statements would be accompanying this report. Is that clear to you, Ayush? Now trace also few sales invoices into accounts of buyers. Obviously भाई सेल हुई है तो जिस पार्टी को सेल हुई है उसके अकाउंट में डेबिट भी होना चाहिए, उससे पैसे लेने हैं. So there should be double entry. Verify total sales from GST portal. So you know that when sales of a month, there is return called GST R1, which is filed monthly. Okay, or in some cases might be quarterly. So what is GST R1? It is nothing but sales summary of a month. So all invoices which the concern has issued during the month are fed into the portal. These details are fed into the portal. What is the GST number, what is the taxable value, what is the tax charge, all these kind of things. So the total sales can be verified from GST portal. So guys, you look that if in respect of sales of a small concern these kind of procedures are performed, then auditor gains sufficient comfort level. He gains reasonable assurance. He has obtained evidence from many sources. He has obtained evidence internally from the records of the organization. He has also verified it online. Okay, not only from GST portal but from e-way bill portal also. So all these things give the auditor an assurance that the sales which are there in the financial statements, these have in fact taken place. The assertion regarding sales is proved by performing these audit procedures. So when in the profit and loss accounts it is stated that sales of that concern are say rupees 10 crores, and the auditor applies these kind of procedures which show that sales of rupees 10 crore have taken place. So auditor gains reasonable assurance, yes, that in fact sales of that concern, sales of that entity are 10 crore during the relevant period. Okay guys, is that clear? Is that clear to you how we have taken an example of sales, how sales are to be verified? Similarly, we will take another example. Say we take an example of say sundry creditors. One example for profit and loss account. Now we take one example of sundry creditors. How sundry creditors can be verified? Now the audit program I am showing to you, uh, it is stating the procedures which are to be applied by the engagement team members, by assistants who are carrying out the audit, by assistants who are carrying out the audit. So Dhanlakshmi, you are asking why don't we right away check sales from the GST portal? Yes, Dhanlakshmi, you can check. This is the auditor tries to obtain evidence from different sources, and it has to be decided by him which is the best available evidence. Okay. It is not that every procedure what I am showing to you in respect of sales has to be followed by each and every auditor. This is a sort of, you can say, an ideal program. It is a matter of professional judgment of auditor, how he wants to obtain the audit evidence. Say in case of a small company, he might check it directly from the portal. But in case of, say, large entities, he might he might require uh, that additional satisfaction would be gained by him if he checks few bills from sale bill files. He might come to know about certain other things. So that is why different procedures are applied. So what about sundry creditors? Check balances of creditors appearing in the schedule in financial statements with those appearing in books of accounts. Okay. Now first thing I would check is that what are the balances appearing in the balance sheet, in the schedule of sundry creditors. First thing is that these are tallied from books of accounts. First and most primary thing is because, guys, you would understand that the basic objective of auditor, one of the basic objective of auditor is to obtain assurance that uh, that financial statements are drawn up from books of accounts. So this proves this. Financial statements are drawn up from books of accounts. So this goes to prove this. Now, trace purchase bills directly into respective creditors account. Obviously, in creditors accounts, the purchase bills would be credited. These are the suppliers from which the concern has purchased goods. So trace also few debit entries in creditors. Now, what about payment? Payment to creditors. Trace entries from the bank statement. Whether the checks given to these parties have been presented in the bank or not. So in this way, if the payment has been made by, say, account pay checks, then the auditor would be gaining satisfaction. He would be obtaining audit evidence. Okay. Examine if there is an old outstanding creditor, the reasons for same. Old creditors, why payment is not made. Say it might have become time barred by law. So if there are many old creditors, it shows that these might be fake, these might be non-genuine. Okay, so such kind of things. Next point is obtain direct confirmation from few selected creditors. Now this is also one of the important methods of important audit procedure. Third party confirmation, important audit procedure. So when the auditor directly obtains confirmation from third parties that please send me your statement of account, what is with this party, then he obtains satisfaction, he obtains audit evidence that in fact these balances are genuine. Okay, compare and analyze relation of creditors of current year and purchase with those of previous year. So these type of procedures are called analytical procedures. These also you would be studying in separate chapter as we move on. So this is a kind of audit program students you would be getting for conducting audit. Okay, so is that sufficient, or you want to discuss me some more examples? Is that sufficient? So let us take one more example of inventory. Say what is written in inventories: examine stock records in respect of raw material, work in progress and finished goods maintained in tally software. Okay, assuming the accounts were maintained in tally software, so what were the stock records? Examine it. Next, trace entries from stock records to purchase and sales account, and also correlate with source data. Now, say if an amount has been sold, if goods have been sold, then these would be reflected in quantity out in stock records. If purchases have been made, so it would be reflected in quantity in. Now, correlate it also with source data. Source data means the purchase bills and sale bills. Purchase bills and sale bills. Okay, examine if physical verification was conducted during the year or year end, whether the management has conducted physical verification. If yes, then what is the documentary evidence of it? Okay, correlate closing inventories with details with stock statement submitted to bankers at year end. Now, whatever the stock is reflected in the books of accounts, say there is closing stock in financial statements which have been put up for audit of say 1 crore. Then what is the closing stock in the stock statements given to bankers? This would be applicable if the concern is availing some credit facilities against stocks. So guys, normally in India, businesses usually avail cash credit facilities. In availing such facilities, the companies, the organization, these are submitting monthly or quarterly stock statements to bankers. Now you would be learning about it in greater detail, what are cash credit facilities, in your chapter on audit of banks. So you would be learning about this in your chapter on audit of banks. So if the stock reflected in stock statements is reconciled is tallied with the stock reflected as per financial records, as per books of accounts, then auditor gains evidence. Okay. Obtain management representation letter if the verification has been conducted by management, and also obtain management representation letter. This we would be, what is management representation letter? We would be discussing it in chapter 3 regarding verification and valuation of inventories. Verify that raw material is valued at cost, WIP at cost plus expenses, and finished goods at cost. So all these kind of things. Reconcile quantities of opening stock, purchases, consumption, and closing stock of raw material. Similarly, reconcile quantities of opening stock, production, sales, and closing stock of finished goods from stock records, whether these tally. Compare gross profit ratio of current year with previous year, if whether there are any abnormal variations. Gross profit ratio, you understand, guys? GP upon sales into 100. Gross margin on sales. Is that clear, students? So you have got a fair idea of what an audit program looks like. Yes. Now, guys, you have got a fair idea of what an audit program looks like. Was it useful for you in creating an impression in your minds that what you understand by an audit program? So Sushil Kumar Barik is asking, what do you mean by cash credit facilities? Cash credit facilities, Sushil, we shall be discussing in detail when we come to chapter on audit of banks. For the time being, you can understand it is a kind of loan running credit facility which is granted by banks, which is sanctioned and granted by banks to businesses, to companies, to firms, to organizations for meeting their day-to-day working capital requirement. For meeting their day-to-day working capital requirement. How every business has to make payment to suppliers. They have to meet day-to-day expenses. So the banks grant a facility which we call as cash credit facility. Okay. Now, next point is, guys, evolving one audit program not practicable for all businesses. Guys, is it possible to form a standard one audit program for all type of businesses? What is your answer? Whether it can be practically possible for developing a standard audit program for all type of businesses? The resounding answer to this would be no. Why? Why it is not possible? Sushil, cash credit facilities are short-term credit facilities. These are for 1 year and renewed again and again. These are short-term credit facilities. So do not get stuck up there on cash credit facilities. Sushil, you can ask it about when we come on the chapter on audit of banks. So for the time being, you can understand this much is sufficient for you. Standard one audit program. Why one standard audit program is not feasible for all type of businesses? Because nature of business is different for different type of industries. Like how, say, if within the manufacturing sector, how audit program for a say textile unit can be similar to a unit say engaged in manufacturing of dyes and chemicals, or in case of manufacturing of machinery. How the audit program can be similar? Similarly, the audit program cannot be same for a service oriented company or a manufacturing company, or for that matter for a company engaged in construction business. It would be totally different. Okay. Okay, it is not possible. Every one of you is writing correctly that evolving one audit program, one standard audit program for all type of business is not possible, because business is very nature, size and composition. Work which is suitable to business may not be suitable to others, and internal controls might be different. So these are the factors which vary from assignment to assignment. For one kind of audit, different factors would be there. For another kind of audit, different factors would be there. Therefore, one audit program is not practicable for all businesses. Now, next point is the assistant engaged be encouraged to keep an open mind. Now, guys, another question arises. Say if the assistant, he has been given an audit program, like one I have shown to you. So whether he has to follow it in every respect, or can he suggest some change? Say, students, it might so happen that while conducting the audit, the team members, the assistants carrying out the audit, they might come to know some things, some issues which are not there in the audit program. So obviously they would be reporting to their principal, and they would be asking him, sir, these are the issues which are not there in the audit program. So again, the principal would be reviewing the audit program, and he might incorporate those points. So similarly, there might be certain points in the audit program but which are not relevant to that company. Although the audit program has been prepared carefully, but practically when you do the things, some points might be there which are not relevant for that company, for that organization. So the assistants also provide their feedback. Therefore, the assistants are encouraged to keep an open mind. They are encouraged to keep an open mind so that necessary changes can be made in the audit program during the process of audit. It is not like this, that audit program has been made, then there would be It is fixed permanently. No changes can be made to it. It becomes a rigid thing. No, it is not like that. The engagement partner, the auditor, tries to make it flexible. He gets inputs, he obtains feedback from the team members, and if necessary, he makes appropriate changes in the audit program. Okay, but once changes have been made, all the suggestions have been incorporated, then whatever program is there, whatever instructions are there, these have to be followed by the team. Okay, is that clear? Is it fine, guys? So we'll see what is there in your module in this respect. Yes. The assist to start with, the auditor, having regard to nature, size, and composition of business, should frame a program which should aim at providing for minimum essential work, which may be termed as standard program. Okay, कि भाई ये काम तो है आपके पास, ये तो आपको करना ही करना है. Some elementary things are there in all businesses. Okay. Open mind means, Dhanlakshmi, open mind means that suggestions are welcome. Suggestions are welcome. Open mind means suggestions are welcome. That you can give suggestions. Sir, we went there and but these things which are written in the audit program, these were not relevant. These procedures were not relevant. So please, sir, this needs revision. So as experience is gained by actually carrying out the work, the program may be altered to take care of situations which were left out originally but are found relevant for the particular concern. Okay. Similarly, if any work originally provided for proves to be unnecessary or irrelevant, like I have told you just now, then it may be dropped. So the assistant engaged in the job should be encouraged to keep an open mind beyond the program given to him. Say, guys, you have to understand that it is not that when you conduct an audit, you do not have to kill your initiative. You have to keep an open mind. You give your suggestions as you learn, but obviously suggestions should be well thought out. Suggestions should be well thought out and practical. These should not be given just for the sake of it. These should be practical and well thought out. Otherwise, if you have no suggestions, then audit program has to be followed. Then audit program has to be followed. Yes, Anu, it is true. Audit program is not static. It is dynamic. So another is periodic review of audit program. So again, it is the continuation of same old point, previous point. Continuation of previous point. There should be periodic review of the audit program. Say once an audit program has been drawn up, during the course of audit, if something has changed, then audit program should also be changed. Why its periodic review becomes important? Why it is significant? Why it is significant? It is because if the audit firm is carrying out audit on the basis of an audit program which is not relevant to the situation, which is not relevant to the client's business, obviously he would be expressing a wrong opinion. Obviously he would be expressing a wrong opinion, because the ultimate objective of auditor is to express an opinion. Okay. So the utility of the audit program can be retained and enhanced by keeping the program as also the client's operation and internal control under the periodic review. So all these things have to be periodically reviewed. Say it might so happen that last year audit was conducted keeping in view some type of software in which accounts books are maintained. Say during the year, although the audit program is same, but the client has changed the software with some new features of some new company. Okay, so and here are the characteristics of audit program. What does it contain? As a basic feature, audit program lists tasks to be carried out, क्या करना है, but also contains a relevant instruction. Like we had seen in our audit program example, extent of checking, कितनी checking करनी है, the sampling plan, how the sample has to be taken. So long as the program is not officially changed by the principal, every assistant deputed on the job should unfailingly carried out. So guys, you have to understand that audit program is approved by a senior member. So obviously if any change is made in the audit program, it has to be approved by that senior member. You cannot yourself change the audit program at your own wishes. Okay, you can only suggest. So audit program contains to what extent checking is to be done, what is the sampling plan, okay, etc. All these kind of things. So next we come to the topic of constructing an audit program. Here we will learn that what points are to be kept in mind by auditor while framing audit program. Okay, so guys, you understand that when previous year's audit has been completed, so next year work starts. Okay, so the auditor reviews controls, internal controls, and he takes the base of previous year audit program, and while developing new audit program, the auditor may conclude that relying upon internal controls is relevant or not. As I have told you in previous session, as I have told you in previous sessions, that that auditor may choose to rely upon internal controls or may choose not to rely upon internal controls. These are both the options available to him. Both the options are available to him. Okay, so what are the points which should be kept in mind by the auditor for audit program reconstruction? These are: stay within the scope and limitation of engagement. First and foremost point. Obviously, if he has been appointed under law, then he is bound by the law, by that respective act. However, if the engagement is voluntary, then stay within the scope and limitation of the assignment. This is the one thing very important. Next thing is audit program. You must have understood that it is not a sort of mental plan. It has to be written. It has to be written. Audit program is a written document. It has to be documented. Okay, setting for the procedures that are needed to implement the audit plan. then determine the evidence reasonably available and identify the best evidence. So the auditor has to see what the audit evidence in respect of proving or disproving some assertion in the financial statement is available. So he may rely upon evidence from different sources, obviously, but he would see what is the best evidence available, and he would try to obtain audit evidence from that source. Okay. Apply only those steps which are useful in accompanying verification process in specific situation. Look, audit can become effective. It can become effective only when verification is carried out properly, which is relevant. Say if some irrelevant verifications are carried out, then it has no bearing on the effectiveness of audit. Rather, it would be just waste of time and effort. So only those procedures are to be applied which are relevant. Okay. Include the audit objectives for each area and sufficient details and a set of instruction for assistants. So as we had seen in our example of audit program, that there was instruction for each set of area. For each set of area, there were instructions for sale, there were instructions for purchases, there were instructions for fixed assets, there were instructions for debtors, creditors of all items. So consider all possibilities of error. Obviously, while designing audit program, the auditor would be considering all possibilities of error. That is why he would not only be verifying invoices generated by the concern, but he would be verifying sales from GST portal also. Okay, he would be verifying sales from the quantity reduced in stock records also. So because by doing so, he is considering all possibilities of error. It might be so that sale has been booked, but it has not been reduced from stock records. So in that case, the value of stock would be misstated. Okay, guys, is that clear? Coordinate the procedures to be applied to related items. So coordination, obviously, all things have to be coordinated. Coordination के बिना तो कुछ भी possible नहीं है. So these are the points, important points which have to be kept in mind by the auditor while devising, while constructing, while developing an audit program. So what are these points? These points are stay within the, number one is stay within the scope of limitation, prepare written program, determine what is the best audit evidence available, apply relevant steps, okay, and provide sufficient details of each area of checking, consider all possibilities of error and coordination. So Ayush is asking, sir, the term internal control is coming again and again. Please tell about it. Ayush, I had told about internal control in the very first lecture. Again, I'll say that you would be studying about this in your chapter number 4. That is risk assessment and internal control. There is a complete chapter on internal control. So do not panic. The term internal control, for the time being, broadly you can understand that it is a system which has been developed by the management to ensure that business is carried on effectively and efficiently, and the financial information produced by accounting system is reliable. You can understand this much, that there are checks and balances, that the management has devised a system of checks and balances, so that whatever information is recorded in the books of accounts and consequently in the financial statements, it is reliable. The management has taken steps to prevent frauds. It has developed a system of checks. There is a routine checking, like one person checks, makes the entries, another person checks it. Okay, it is an example of control. Like in banks, one entry is passed by one person in the system, but another person approves it. So it is also an example of internal control. Like the company, the client, he might have put in place some measures that employees are not taking away some small values of stocks along with them to their homes. Okay, so that this has been done to stop pilferage of inventories. It is another kind of internal control system. So internal control is a very broad term. So you can understand that it is a system which is designed and implemented by management to run the organization efficiently and to ensure that accounting records show reliable financial information. Is that clear to you? We will be discussing it in greater detail in chapter 4. It is all about internal controls. Is that clear to you, Ayush? Ayush, is that clear to you? Vaishnavi is also asking about risk assessment procedure. This term again, Vaishnavi, would come in chapter 4. For the time being, you can understand that risk assessment procedures are procedures employed by the auditor to assess risk of material misstatement. That before he applies checking procedures, before he applies to verify the things, he assesses the risk of material misstatement. That what are the potential areas where there can be errors? What are the potential areas where there could be frauds? Okay, so he makes an risk assessment. So the procedures which are used to make risk assessment are called risk assessment procedures. Is that clear to both of you, Ayush and Vaishnavi? Please let me know. Is that point clear? This is the again in a diagrammatic form, the points which we have studied, which are to be kept in mind by auditor. Points to be kept in mind by the auditor while developing audit program. Okay, again the same points. Now again, what is the final utility of audit program? What is the final outcome? ऑडिट प्रोग्राम का मकसद क्या है? व्हाट इज द ऑब्जेक्टिव? व्हाट इज द ऑब्जेक्टिव ऑफ ऑडिट प्रोग्राम? ऑडिट प्रोग्राम का ऑब्जेक्टिव है टू ऑब्टेन ऑडिट एविडेंस. टू ऑब्टेन ऑडिट एविडेंस. व्हाट इज द फाइनल आउटकम? व्हाट इज द फाइनल आउटकम ऑफ ऑडिट प्रोग्राम? टू ऑब्टेन ऑडिट एविडेंस. ऑडिट प्रोग्राम में लिखा है कि ये प्रोसीजर्स अप्लाई करने, उससे क्या मिलेगा? उससे ऑडिट एविडेंस मिलेगा. ऑडिट एविडेंस से क्या होगा? रीजनेबल एश्योरेंस मिलेगी. जिससे कि ऑडिटर अपने कंक्लूजन डिराइव करेगा और वो अपना ओपिनियन बनाएगा कि उसको क्या रिपोर्ट देनी है. इज दैट क्लियर गाइस? सीक्वेंस ऑफ इवेंट्स. दिस सीक्वेंस ऑफ इवेंट्स यू हैव टू क्लियरली मेक ए पिक्चर इन योर माइंड कि ऑडिट का क्या ऑब्जेक्टिव है, वो प्रोसीजर्स की क्या सिग्निफिकेंस है और फाइनल उससे क्या मिलता है. उससे ऑडिट एविडेंस मिलेगा और ऑडिट एविडेंस किससे कलेक्ट करेंगे? ऑडिट प्रोग्राम से. ओके. So now what is audit evidence? Audit evidence is the information used by the auditor in arriving at the conclusions. What I was telling you in Hindi, it is written there, on which the auditor's opinion is based. Okay. Audit evidence includes both information contained in accounting records and other information. Guys, one more important thing you have to understand, that audit evidence is not only what the auditor gathers from financial records. He can get it from other information also, like he makes an inquiry. Okay, then that is the inquiry is also an audit procedure. From that inquiry, he might be getting audit evidence. So it is not necessary that audit evidence is always obtained from the information contained in accounting records, although the information contained in accounting records is one of the primary source of obtaining audit evidence, but it is not that audit evidence is not available from other areas. It is available from other areas also, by seeking explanations from the management, by making inquiries, by carrying out analytical procedures. So in this way, audit evidence can be obtained from a variety of sources. Okay. Is that clear? So the final outcome of audit program is to obtain audit evidence. Okay. So evidence is the basis of formulation of opinion, and audit program is designed to provide for that by prescribing procedures and techniques. Okay. So the auditor has to see that what is the best audit evidence available. He has to see that what is the best audit evidence available, and he has to devise his audit program such that it includes those procedures. Okay. Okay, students, is that clear? So again, it is giving an example of sales. Students, we have discussed this example, sales, in our audit program example. We have already discussed it. Audit program example, the PPT I had shown to you. Audit program. So sales are evidenced by invoices raised by client. Okay. Price list, say inventory issue records, collection of money against sale by the client, sale manager advice to the inventory section, and like that. There can be n number of things. It might be so that some things are relevant in one company and some things are not relevant in one company. Say if a company is dealing in large number of items, then price list would be relevant. However, if the company is dealing in a single item, then price list might not be relevant. Okay. So, but invoices raised by the client would always be relevant, and collection of money against sales by the client, this would always be relevant. क्योंकि आप कुछ सेल करोगे तो उसका इनवॉइस भी रेज करोगे और पैसा भी आएगा. Money would also come. Okay. Is that clear? Is that clear to you, students? Yes, Dhanlakshmi, the auditor obtains audit evidence on the basis of audit evidence, he gives his opinion that whether financial statements uh, depicted true and fair view, whether he might say so, or he might give adverse opinion, or he might say that the client has not provided the information, so he is not able to give the opinion, he might disclaim the opinion. Auditor's opinion is always based upon audit evidence. And how audit evidence is collected? It is collected by performing audit procedures. And where the audit team would get the information that what kind of audit procedure has to be performed? These are there in the audit program. Okay, is that clear to you? Now the chain is clear to you, guys. So audit program contains detail of audit procedures to be performed, and on the basis of it, the team carries out the audit, and on the basis of audit evidence thus obtained, auditor arrives at some conclusions which help him in forming an opinion, and ultimately he has to give his report on the basis of his opinion. So clear, students? So here it is also there that an auditor picks up evidence from a variety of fields. I have already told you that evidence can be of different types. So we would also be discussing audit evidence, guys, in chapter 3. The whole chapter is on audit evidence, audit documentation and audit evidence, chapter 3. The next chapter is on audit evidence. So you would be getting a full dose of what audit evidence is about. You would be learning about different type of audit evidences and all those things. So here it is written, documentary examination. Now when some document is before you, physically checking something, statement of management officials, statement of third parties, arithmetical calculations by auditor, these are all the areas from where the audit evidence is obtained. What is the state of internal controls? Minutes, say in case of a company, minute book, where proceedings of meetings are recorded. Okay, interrelationship of various accounting data, subsidiary records, say some not financial records, but in which some information is recorded, subsequent action by client and by others. So it is also given example, like say if the client is saying that the financial statements are showing in the asset side, let us assume FDR of rupees 10 lakhs. Okay, so what would be the best audit evidence available to the auditor? Say also assume that this FDR has been kept in bank as security. The FDR is not available with the client, which he can show to the auditor. So bank में बैलेंस शीट में, फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स में इन्वेस्टमेंट हेड के अंडर एफडीआर आ रही है 10 लाख की, से auditor says that show me the FDR. The party says that I have taken some loan and the FDR is lying as security with the bank. So what is the best evidence available to the auditor? He would say, so get me a certificate from the banker. So the original certificate obtained from the banker would constitute an audit evidence for the auditor. Is that clear? Now Sudhanshu is asking how third party can say about FM. It's matter of top level management. Is the matter of Himanshu, what you are asking about FM? What do you mean by FM? Are you saying financial statements? Say if you are asking financial statements, the auditor seeks information from many persons. Like say the auditor might seek information from the advocate, from the legal counsel of the company regarding some pending litigation. Okay, so he is not a person of the company. He is an independent law firm. He is an independent advocate. But the auditor can discuss with him what is the status of those cases. So he might be forming an opinion whether contingent liabilities have been properly disclosed or not. Okay. So is that clear to you, Sudhanshu? Yes, Ayush, FDR means fixed deposit receipts. FDR means fixed deposit receipts. Ayush, FDR means fixed deposit receipt. Okay, the auditor has to place appropriate weight on each piece of evidence and accordingly should prescribe the priority of verification. Obviously, and some of you are writing whether how many audit procedures are there. There are no fixed set of procedures. These have to be devised by the auditor by relying upon his professional experience and judgment. It is a matter of his professional judgment. What kind of procedures are to be applied? There is no fixed rule. Now we come to another thing, advantages and disadvantages of an audit program. Fairly simple. Now you have understood the meaning of audit program. We have also seen a practical audit program, and the final outcome of audit program is to obtain audit evidence. So what are the advantages of audit program? These are very general, like it provides the assistant with a clear set of instructions what is to be done, because if there is no document, then how the assistants are going to proceed with the audit? Okay, if there are no instructions, then assistants would be carrying out audit only on the basis of mental plan. That would be totally wrong. That would be totally wrong and subjective. Okay, so it is essential because it gives a total perspective of the work to be performed. It means it gives a total overview. When you have got a document before you, highlighting, stating what kind of procedures are to be applied for in different type of areas, you have a picture in your mind that this is the nature of work, this is the nature of business, and we as team members, we have as members of audit team, we have to carry out these procedures. Okay, so it also helps in deputing assistants. So when we develop audit program, then obviously there would be certain areas where some experienced persons would be required. Okay, some qualified chartered accountant might be accompanying the audit team with article clerks. So obviously it helps in the division of work. So without a audit program, the audit remains a mental plan, what I had told you. Okay, so in such a case, there would be always a danger of ignoring certain books and records. Next is the assistants, by putting their signatures on program, accept the responsibilities. I had shown you the practical audit program, guys. So here you have to sign. When you are putting the signature, you are accepting the responsibility. So कल को कोई गड़बड़ होती है, कुछ है, so आपको your work be traced. इस आदमी ने काम किया था, मिस्टर एक्स had done it, एंड देखो इसने ठीक तरह से चेकिंग नहीं की, इसको जरा टाइट कीजिए. सो दिस पर्सन इज नॉट गुड, ही नीड्स मोर पॉलिशिंग. ओके, so the principal can control the progress of various audits by examination of audit programs. Obviously it helps in controlling the work, it helps in monitoring the work, so it serves as a guide for audit to be carried on in the succeeding year. So these are general points. Okay, so guys, these points are clear to you. Advantages of audit program. Now we come to disadvantages. Now what can be disadvantages? You would say ऑडिट प्रोग्राम के तो सारे एडवांटेज हो सकते हैं, देयर कैन नॉट बी एनी डिसएडवांटेज, बट गाइस देयर आर डिसएडवांटेजेस कॉन्ट्रेरी. सो ऑलवेज गाइस ट्राई टू रिमेंबर कॉन्ट्रेरी पॉइंट्स. जो एडवांटेजेस तो जनरल है, आपने ऑडिट प्रोग्राम का मतलब समझ लिया, उसका मीनिंग समझ लिया, नेचर समझ ली, प्रैक्टिकल ऑडिट प्रोग्राम भी देख लिया, तो एडवांटेजेस तो आप लिख ही सकते हैं, लेकिन डिसएडवांटेज लिखने के लिए दिमाग पे जोर डालना पड़ेगा. सो उसके लिए लर्न करना पड़ेगा. ओके, सो द डिसएडवांटेजेस आर द वर्क मे बिकम मैकेनिकल because the audit program is structured, so the assistant might follow the program without applying their mind. But that is why it is stated that assistants should perform the work with an open mind, so that audit program does not become mechanical. Okay, is it clear? So the program often tends to become rigid and inflexible. This is again continuation of this point. So that is why it is said that periodic review of audit program is necessary. Periodic review of audit program is necessary because when you take periodic review, it becomes flexible, it does not remain rigid. Next important point is, now inefficient assistants may take shelter behind the program. जो टीम जा रही है काम करने, वो कहीं ये ऑडिट प्रोग्राम में तो चीज ही नहीं थी, दिस वाज नॉट देयर इन द ऑडिट प्रोग्राम, सो वी आर नॉट चेक्ड इट. बट again come to open mind. The assistants are encouraged to keep an open mind. जो चीज नहीं भी है ऑडिट प्रोग्राम में, आप सोचो कि वो नहीं है and give your feedback. लेकिन this can be a disadvantage of audit program, that some inefficient person, some lazy person, they may take shelter behind the program, that सर ये तो कहीं था ही नहीं, हमने देखा ही नहीं, आपने के लिखा ही नहीं. ओके, A hard and fast audit program may kill the initiative of efficient. Again the same point कि उसका initiative खत्म हो जाएगा. So, but lastly it writes, all the disadvantages may be eliminated by good supervision of work, and the auditor must have receptive attitude as regard the assistants. The assistants should be encouraged to observe the matters objectively and bring significant matters to the notice of principal, to the notice of their immediate boss who is supervising the audit. Okay. Hirala is asking what is the meaning of enterprising assistant. Enterprising assistant means, say, if somebody from you students, when you would be conducting, that you feel that I can conduct audit, I have considerable knowledge, but the audit program is somehow killing my initiative. It is too structured. It does not give me room to think independently. Okay, so this is the meaning of enterprising. Enterprising means one who can do his own, who can think in enterprising terms, like entrepreneur, one who can run his own business. So enterprising assistant means that one person who is creative, okay, who can think imaginatively. Is that clear? Is that clear to you guys? And Dhanlakshmi is asking, she has not understood G point of advantages. Now Dhanlakshmi, what is it? What is there in it to be not understood? It serves as a guide for audit to be carried out in succeeding year. Say the audit of 1 year has been completed, so the auditor has been appointed for 5 years. He has completed audit of 1 year on the basis of audit program. So the next year work starts after the conclusion of audit of 1 year. Then the audit program for that year becomes base. It becomes relevant for drawing of audit program of the next year. क्या next year में changes हुए हैं, उसको incorporate. After incorporating those changes, a new audit program can be prepared for next year. Okay, so therefore it serves as a guide for audit to be carried out in the succeeding year. Is that clear to you, Dhanlakshmi? Dhanlakshmi is again asking what is meant by receptive attitude and all these things. Receptive means that the principal, that the auditor, he should welcome the suggestions. Reception means receive. It is derived from the word received. Receive, say reception. That the auditor should be welcome. He should welcome the suggestions given by the assistants. If these are properly thought out, he should welcome it. That you have given the suggestion. That suppose Dhanlakshmi gives the suggestion to his boss that, sir, this thing has not been mentioned in the audit program, and if the suggestion is good, the auditor incorporates it, and in the audit program that this procedure has been left out, then this is called the receptive attitude of the auditor. Okay, Dhanlakshmi, is that clear? And also you are asking what is imaginative supervision of work. That is it means that the person who is supervising, the team member who is supervising the work of assistants, he should be creative enough. Again, same thing. He should be creative enough and he should welcome the suggestions. Okay. Okay, guys. So you fairly understand about audit program. Yes, guys, you fairly understand now about audit program, what the audit program is, what is its purpose. Its purpose is to obtain audit evidence. Okay, what are the contents of an audit program? We have seen a practical audit program. Okay, what are the advantages? What are the disadvantages? And what points are to be kept by an auditor in his mind while devising an audit program. And I think these points should be clear to you. So at this stage, we'll be taking a short break for 10 minutes. See you after 10 minutes, guys. Break for 10 minutes. Yeah. Yes, students. Now you understand that audit is carried out by the team members, and which may consist of many assistants. So, but you have to understand that primary responsibility remains with whom? It remains with auditor. The auditor who has to sign the report, he is ultimately responsible. So that is why he has to he has to monitor the work and monitor the audit work. And during audit work, as you know, he depends upon assistants also, and he might depend upon the work of some other experts also. So therefore, the SA 220 quality control for an audit of financial statement states that the objective of the auditor is to implement quality control procedures at the engagement level that provides the auditor with reasonable assurance that the audit complies with professional standards, regulatory and legal requirements, and the auditor's report is appropriate in the circumstances. Guys, you have to understand that ultimate responsibility of the report lies with the auditor. कल को कुछ बात हो जाती है, something comes out that auditor has not done the audit properly, then he cannot take shelter that my staff was negligent, that say one of my article clerks, he failed to carry out the audit procedures. He cannot take your name, because ultimately he is signing, he has to ensure that the report which is issued by him is appropriate, which is relevant in those circumstances, and the audit complies with all the professional standards. It has been conducted in accordance with standards on auditing, and it complies with all not only with professional standards but with regulatory and legal requirements. Okay, so therefore you can well visualize, students, that how much responsibility is there on the shoulders of an auditor. Okay, and you have also to understand that since you would also be working in the audit firm as an article clerk for carrying out audit, so the responsibility is yours also. Because if you do not do your work professionally as it has been advised to you, as has been told to you, then you would not be in the good books of your principal. Okay. Okay, guys, you understand? So the auditor has to, SA 220 says that the auditor has to carefully review work. He has to monitor the work. He has to direct, supervise, and review the work. And all times he should be in command. He should be in control. He should see that the work is being carried out as has been instructed by him. Otherwise, he might reach to inappropriate conclusions. His the whole audit may go haywire. Okay, the effectiveness of audit might be compromised. So you have to understand the ultimate responsibility lies with the auditor, lies with the audit firm, lies with the person who is signing the audit report. Okay, guys. So now we come to another concept, students, that is materiality, audit planning and materiality. Now, materiality, what is materiality? we would be discussing it in accordance with SA 320. So that would be relevant SA 320 relating to materiality. Okay, students. So guys, you would be remembering chapter 1. So what was the objective of audit? The objective of audit is to obtain reasonable assurance. For what? To see that financial statements as a whole are free from material misstatements. Are free from material misstatements, whether due to error or fraud. Now I had told you in chapter 1 that at that time that you can understand material means significant. At that time, at the start of auditing classes. So now we will be discussing in greater detail what is meant by materiality and at what stage materiality is important and what are the factors which have to be kept in mind by an auditor while deciding materiality. So all these things we shall be studying, we shall be touching and starting this topic materiality today, so that you get a some broad framework in your mind as to what is materiality. So guys, financial statements should disclose all material items. So material items का मतलब क्या है? Items, it means the items, the knowledge of which might influence the decisions of users of financial statement. An item is material. An item becomes material if the knowledge of which might influence the decisions of the users of financial statements. The persons who are using the financial statements, if it can affect their decision, if it can influence their decision, then it becomes material. Therefore, we state that financial statements should disclose all material items. No material item should be omitted from the financial statements, because omission of that item might influence the decision of the users of financial statement. Now that user might be a banker, that user might be a government authority, or that user might be a regulatory authority, or that user might be management itself. Okay. So the items, the knowledge of which might influence the decisions of the users of financial statements, these are material items. So materiality is not always a matter of relative size. That is very important, guys. It is not that if some bigger item is there having more value, then I would say it is material. And if there is a small value item, I would say it is not material. It is not always like that, but generally it can be like that. But say if the auditor finds small amounts of frauds, okay, if some fraudulent practices are found by a auditor which leads to small amount of frauds, और वो ऑडिटर से छोड़ो या छोटा सा ही तो फ्रॉड है, 2,000 रुपए का है या 10,000 रुपए का है, but such kind of practices may lead to the conclusion that some bigger fraud is beneath, some bigger fraud is hidden. Okay, it might show bad light on the internal control system of the organization. कहीं छोटे मोटे फ्रॉड हो रहे हैं और ऑडिटर ने डिटेक्ट किया तो इसका मतलब उसकी इंटरनल कंट्रोल पे रिलायंस भी खत्म हो रही है. His confidence is down, his comfort is reducing. Okay, so for example, a small amount lost by fraudulent practices of certain employees can indicate a serious flaw in the enterprise internal control system, requiring immediate attention to avoid greater losses in future. That is why we say that materiality is not always related to size. Although it is related to size, obviously larger items are always material, but materiality is not always. What? The word is always. Guys, this question, this line has come in your May 22 exams. Incorrect type of question. If I'm not wrong, it has come in your incorrect type of question, that materiality is always a matter of size, is a matter of relative size. State whether this statement is correct or incorrect. So guys, what I'm trying to say is that in exams, all the questions which are being asked are internals. You have to be very thorough while studying your module. Although everything is coming from your modules, you have to understand them, review and remember, and understand them thoroughly, understand key points, and apply it to the practical situations. Then only you will be able to attempt the paper satisfactorily. So materiality is not always a relative matter of size. In certain cases, quantitative limits of materiality is specified. Say when financial statements are prepared in accordance with Companies Act, you know that Companies Act contains Schedule 3 of the Companies Act contains instructions for preparation of financial statements. Now, some of these instructions are examples of materiality. Here, these examples are given. Some of these are examples of materiality. Now, it is written in the Schedule 3. It is written in the Schedule 3 that a company should disclose by way of notes additional information regarding any item of expenditure which exceeds 1% of revenue from operation or 1 lakh, whichever is higher. So it means that the financial statements of every company should disclose any item of income or expense which is more than 1% of total revenue from operation or rupees 1 lakh, whichever is higher. Because the Companies Act Schedule 3 has made these items material, that from the point of view of Companies Act, these items are material in the financial statements of the company. Okay guys, you understand? Similarly, a company, this is also a requirement of Schedule 3 of Companies Act. A company should disclose in notes to accounts shares in the company held by each shareholder holding more than 5% of shares, specifying the number of shares held. That the financial statements have to disclose in the notes to accounts if the detail of persons that who are holding more than 5% shares in the company, because this is again an example of materiality, because the Companies Act, the legislation has thought it fit that persons who are holding more than 5% of shares, the information regarding this should be disclosed in the notes to accounts in the financial statements of the company, because the law has thought it to be material, because the omission of such information could affect decisions of users of financial statements. Okay, so these are some of the examples of what? These are some of the examples of materiality. These are some of the examples of what statements are material. But guys, you have to again understand that materiality is not always a matter of relative size. It is not always a matter of relative size. So guys, what we have learnt is that material items are those which influence, knowledge of which might influence decisions of users of financial statement. Decisions of users. Now user can be anybody, and some of the example of material items given as per schedule 3 of Companies Act are: two examples are given. What are these examples? First example is that any item of income or expenditure which is more than 1% of revenue from operation, जो बैलेंस शीट में रेवेन्यू फ्रॉम ऑपरेशन आ रहा है उसके 1% से ज्यादा, और ₹1,00,000, whichever is more, whichever is higher. Okay, okay guys, से अगर कंपनी का रेवेन्यू 10 करोड़ है तो 1% 10 लाख या 1 लाख, दोनों में से जो हायर है, 10 लाख से ऊपर कोई भी इनकम या एक्सपेंडिचर की आइटम होगी तो वो अलग से उसको डिस्क्लोज करना है. सो बिकॉज कंपनीज एक्ट हैज थॉट इट प्रॉपर दैट दिस आइटम शुड बी डिस्क्लोज, बिकॉज यूजर्स शुड नो इट कि इतनी बड़ी आइटम किस चीज की है, क्या हेड है वो. ओके, now Ayush is saying, sir, I don't think it is a rational limit. Ayush, this limit has been prescribed by law. This is as per Companies Act. This you cannot say that this has to be complied with, this has to be followed. Okay, so any item of income or expenditure, if it is more than 1% of revenue from operations or ₹1,00,000, whichever is more. Guys, this is important to remember also. This is an important point and you have to remember also. You have to remember it also. Okay, and second point is 5% shareholding. This has again, it has to be disclosed in the notes to accounts. This is also legal requirement. This is also legal requirement as per schedule 3. Okay, so guys, you understand now what is broadly meant by materiality. because there are many aspects to materiality which we would be studying in context of essay 320. Essay 320. But you first try to understand in general terms what is materiality by understanding these examples, these two examples of schedule 3 which are given in your module, so you can have a fair idea of what materiality is all about. But you have also to remember that materiality is not always matter of relative size, कि कोई बड़ी आइटम होगी तो वही मटेरियल होगी. Even small items can be material. Although materiality is related to size, but it is not always. It is not always. This word is important. It is not always a matter of size. Now Kiran is asking, sir, if that item is recorded in notes, then it would not be recorded in the financial statements. Look, Kiran, it might so happen that some expense is grouped by the company, say under the head general expense. Okay, or under some other head, and say the amount is 10 lakh or more. Say the amount is 10 lakh 60,000, and the amount is material in accordance with the requirement of schedule 3. It is more than 1% of revenue from operations. Say assume it is more than 1% of revenue from operation. 1 lakh से तो ज्यादा है ही. It is more than 1% of revenue from operations. Then in notes to accounts, it is already included in financial statements. But in notes to accounts, it would be disclosed so that the users know that this amount general expenses include this expenses on this account also. Okay, so that they are not mistaken, the users of the financial statements are not mistaken, and they are able to take a rational decision, because the company might be hiding some expenses under general expenses, say. So but the law has made it mandatory कि भाई अगर 1% से ज्यादा रेवेन्यू फ्रॉम ऑपरेशन से ज्यादा का खर्चा है तो वो आपको नोट्स ऑन अकाउंट्स में अलग से डिस्क्लोज करना पड़ेगा. सो व्हेन यू हैव डिस्क्लोज्ड इन नोट्स ऑन अकाउंट, देन इट बिकम्स ट्रांसपेरेंट. सो दैट इज द होल पर्पस ऑफ इट. Okay, Kiran, is that clear to you? Is that clear to you, Kiran? Tell me. So that is the whole purpose of it. Yes, Kiran, is the query clear? Similar cases with the shareholders, because when we disclose shareholding of more than 5% in notes to accounts, that it goes on to show to the users of financial statements that who are the principal stakeholders in the company. कि भाई उसके 5% से ज्यादा शेयर होल्डर्स हैं, उनको पता है कि ये लोगों के 5% से ज्यादा शेयर होल्डिंग है, सो दे आर एक्सरसाइजिंग कंट्रोल इन द कंपनी. ओके, clear guys? Is that clear guys? So guys, we shall be doing materiality in the context of essay 320. What are the factors which have to be kept in mind by the auditor, and what are the different frameworks. So these we would be discussing another day after tomorrow. No, not on Tuesday. Sorry, on Tuesday. So today we will be doing some correct type of assignments to test what we have learned in these two sessions of this chapter. So are you comfortable with the correct incorrect type of questions, guys? Yes. Question number 1. Now, audit program includes extent of sample checking to be done by assistant. Is this statement correct or incorrect? Guys, do not rush. Just take your time and then answer. Audit program includes extent of sample checking to be done by assistant. Is the statement correct or incorrect? Audit program includes extent of सैंपल चेकिंग. ऑडिट प्रोग्राम में असिस्टेंट ने कितनी सैंपल चेकिंग करनी है ये भी लिखा होता है, ये भी डॉक्यूमेंटेड होता है. क्या ये स्टेटमेंट ठीक है या गलत है? वेदर दिस स्टेटमेंट इज करेक्ट और इनकरेक्ट, यू हैव टू टेल दिस. Yes, guys, waiting for your answers. Fairly simple. Very simple. Only 6-7 mails of this simple question also. Only Himanshu, Sudhanshu, Mehman Rafiq Bhai, Shubham Mishra, Pooja, Hiral, Shivangi Singh. Yes, guys, waiting for your mails. Audit program includes extent of sample checking to be done by assistant. Is this correct or incorrect? Yes, this statement is correct. Audit program definitely includes extent of sample checking. हमने अपने प्रैक्टिकल एग्जाम्पल में भी देखा था. We had seen in our practical example that extent of checking column was there. Extent of checking column was there. Okay. Now second question is, the basic objective of audit program is to help the auditor in obtaining audit evidence. Whether this is basic objective of audit program, बताएं. Whether the basic objective of audit program is to help the auditor in obtaining audit evidence. Is the statement true or untrue? Yes, guys. Yes, fairly simple, guys. The basic objective of audit program is to help the auditor in obtaining audit evidence. Yes, only few males. Only few males students. What is the right answer for it? The basic objective of audit program is to help the auditor in obtaining audit evidence. Yes, guys, you seem to be slow today. Why it is so? Yes, some mails have come. This is also correct. Almost everybody has answered correctly. Almost, I think, everybody. The basic objective of audit program is to help the auditor in obtaining audit evidence, because this is the outcome of audit program. This is the outcome of audit program. What is the outcome of audit program? Is to obtain audit evidence, which helps the auditor in arriving at conclusions, and then he forms an opinion. Okay. Now third. Question number 3, guys. This concept materiality we would be discussing in detail in our next class. However, you can make an informed guess. जो भी आपने पढ़ा है मेटेरियलिटी के बारे में, उसमें आप जरा इन्फॉर्म्ड गेस करिए. मेटेरियलिटी इज अप्लाइड बाय ऑडिटर ओनली इन प्लानिंग ऑफ ऑडिट. वेदर दिस स्टेटमेंट इज करेक्ट और इनकरेक्ट. Whether this statement is correct or incorrect. Question number 3. Materiality is applied by auditor only in planning of audit. Is this statement correct or incorrect, guys? Now, Miss Payman Rafiq Bhai, when you are writing correct or incorrect, do write reasons. Then remember that you would not be getting any credit in the exams if you do not write reasons. Just writing correct or incorrect does not give any credit. It is of no value. Nobody is writing the reason. One of the reason that you are not writing it because we are yet to study it. So materiality is applied by auditor not only in planning, but it is also in performance. It is also in performance of an audit. Guys, you have to remember that concept of materiality. It is important not only in planning. प्लानिंग में तो ऑडिटर को देखना ही है कि उसको प्लान कैसी बनानी है, क्या आइटम मटेरियल है, क्या नहीं है. लेकिन जब वो ऑडिट परफॉर्म करता है तो भी उसको देखना है वो जो ऑडिट एविडेंस उसने ऑब्टेन किया, क्या वो इंपॉर्टेंट है, क्या वो मटेरियल है. सो मटेरियलिटी इज अप्लाइड बाय ऑडिटर not only in planning but also in performance of audit. So materiality is applied by the auditor not only in planning but also in performance of audit. It is known as, it is an incorrect statement. Materiality is applied by auditor not only in planning but also in performance of audit. So it is an incorrect statement. Okay guys. So खाली प्लानिंग से तो काम नहीं चलेगा ना. अगर उसने प्लानिंग में मेटेरियलिटी देख लिया और लेकिन ऑडिट करते हुए मेटेरियलिटी का कंसेप्ट ध्यान में नहीं रखा, तो देन he would not be able to carry out an effective audit. Okay. Number 4, audit program once formulated by the principal becomes a standard template to be followed without fail. अगर प्रिंसिपल ने एक बार ऑडिट प्रोग्राम बना दिया तो वो स्टैंडर्ड बन जाता है और उसको हर हालत में फॉलो करना है विदाउट फेल, बिना चेंज किए हुए, अनफेलिंगली. इज दिस स्टेटमेंट ट्रू और अनट्रू? Audit program once formulated by principal becomes a standard template to be followed without fail. Is this statement correct or incorrect? Yes, Meghna, Siddharth, Pooja, Sushil, Kumar, Barik, Himanshu, Gupta, Shubham, Dhanlakshmi. Yes. Still not. Many of you are not sending mail, guys. Audit program once formulated by principal becomes a standard template to be followed without fail. जो प्रिंसिपल ने एक बार बना दिया वो एक स्टैंडर्ड रहेगा और वो हर हालत में फॉलो करना है असिस्टेंट को. इज इट ट्रू? नाउ दिस स्टेटमेंट इज ऑल्सो what it is, guys? This statement is incorrect. Audit program can be changed. प्रिंसिपल ने बना दिया, फॉलो करना है, लेकिन जब असिस्टेंट कोई फीडबैक देगा तो it can be changed. This you have to remember that audit program is not static, it is dynamic. Okay. Now, fifth, audit planning is a distinct phase of audit. Is this statement correct or incorrect? We have studied about audit planning, whether audit planning is a distinct phase of an audit, whether this statement is correct or incorrect. Yes, tell me, guys. Audit planning is a distinct phase of an audit, whether this statement is correct or incorrect. Only two mails, Siddharth and Meghna Sharma. Audit planning is a distinct phase of an audit. Is this statement correct or incorrect, guys? Yes, few of you have given right reasons, but many of you have not given correct reasons. So this statement is, guys, incorrect. we had learned that audit planning is not a discrete phase. It is not a distinct phase. Why? Because it is a continuous process. Audit planning is a continuous process. It carries throughout. Again, some information is obtained, then again the plan might have to be changed. Like say audit program. What is audit program? Audit program is also a detailed plan. So it is not that once it has been made, it cannot be changed. It is subject to change. Similarly, audit planning is a continuous process. It is not a distinct phase of an audit. It is not a separate phase, discrete phase of audit. Okay. Although we plan first, but the question is whether the audit planning is a distinct phase. It is not one step and you go over to another step and you do not, you cannot come to first step. You can come. It is a continuous process. Okay. Is that clear to you, Ayush? Now we shall also be doing some correct incorrect which is there in your module. Yes. Now first is the establishment of overall audit strategy and detailed audit plan are not necessarily discrete or sequential processes but are closely related. Says changes in one may result in consequential changes to other. So guys, what could be the answer? Is this statement correct or incorrect? This statement is correct. These are not sequential, discrete, distinct processes, but closely related. Change in one can lead to change in another. Change in audit strategy can lead to change in plan or vice versa. Change in plan can lead to change in audit strategy. Okay. Now, what is the second question? Second question is establishing an overall audit strategy that sets the scope, timing, and direction of audit and that guides the development of audit plan is prerogative of the management. Now tell whether this statement is correct or incorrect. Question number 2. Whether this statement is correct or incorrect. Now establishing a audit strategy and development of a detailed audit plan, whose job is this? Whose prerogative it is? It is the prerogative of auditor. It is not the prerogative of the management. Okay. So this statement is incorrect. Okay. Clear, guys? Now planning is a discrete phase of audit. It is the same which we have done in our PPT. So just fifth question. This is incorrect. This is the same. Now you can skip fourth because we have not completely done materiality till now. This you can skip. So fifth is a detailed audit program once prepared for a business can be used for all business under all circumstances. This we have studied today. Whether a detailed audit program, Rahul is asking what is the prerogative. Prerogative means adhikar. Rahul, in Hindi you can say adhikar. उसका अधिकार है, उसके डोमेन में आता है. उसको करना है। कौन, इसका मतलब है कि ऑडिट स्ट्रेटेजी और ऑडिट प्लान कौन बनाता है, बेसिकली क्वेश्चन ये पूछ रहा है आपसे, सिर्फ उसको थोड़ा सा घुमा दिए। ओके, नंबर 5, a detailed audit program once prepared for a business can be used for all business under all circumstances. Fairly simple. Is this statement correct or incorrect? Question number 5. Now Dhanlakshmi is asking, sir, how we can be able to know these type of words, as these can change the meaning. Dhanlakshmi, when you would be doing the whole syllabus, when you have gone through the modules, you would yourself realize what are the keywords. So there is not a list, there is not a ready-made list. When you would get absorbed yourself in this subject of auditing, you would yourself learn what are the keywords. Okay, you would yourself be speaking language of auditing. You would yourself be saying, ये काम मटेरियल नहीं है, आज मेरे को ये चीज नहीं करनी, दिस इज नॉट मटेरियल. You would not say important, you would say not material. Okay, you understand? So Dhanlakshmi, is it clear to you? Dhanlakshmi, is it clear to you? Tell me. Yes, a detailed audit program once prepared for a business can be used for all business. No, incorrect. It is incorrect. However detailed a program may be, it cannot be used for all businesses under all circumstances. Okay, because it is subject to change, and circumstances might change, and the requirements differ from business to business. Okay, the audit plan is more detailed than overall audit strategy. Yes, guys. The audit plan is more detailed than overall audit strategy. Is the statement correct or incorrect? The audit plan is more detailed than the audit strategy. Whether audit strategy is more detailed or audit plan is more detailed, the question asks you to answer it. Answer it this way. It is saying the audit plan is more detailed than the overall audit strategy. Yes, obviously, the audit plan is definitely more detailed than overall audit strategy. Overall audit strategy is just related to scope, timing, and direction. Setting the scope, timing, and direction. But the audit plan is fairly detailed one. It tells what to do. Okay. So these kind of questions. Now just see this question. Is it necessary to document the audit plan? If so, what activities in the planning phase needs to be documented? State with examples. Now this is, you have to write, yes, the audit plan has to be documented. Okay, and what activities have to be documented? This you have also to write what we had studied in the part of documenting the plan कि क्या क्या प्लानिंग फेज में एक्टिविटीज हैं जो कि डॉक्यूमेंट होनी चाहिए और ना सिर्फ नॉट ओनली the audit plan but also changes to the audit plan, significant changes to the audit plan along with reasons for those changes are also to be documented, because documentation is very important. Documentation is very significant. Okay. Yes, guys. So, guys, you are clear about audit strategy, audit plan, audit program, and you have also got a broad outline idea of materiality. So, as I have told you, materiality in context of SA 320, we would be doing in our next class. But you have understood what we mean by materiality, and we have also done two examples of schedule 3 of companies act which point to what items are material in the financial statements of a company. And guys, I have tried to explain audit program with the help of a practical audit practically devised audit program. Hope you have understood the concept of audit program well, because it is thoroughly related to your practical work when you would be doing audit practically. And these things, guys, all the distinctive terms you have to remember, and all the keywords also you have to remember while preparing for the exams. Okay, guys. So thank you very much, and thanks for patient listening. Good night to everybody of you. Good night, guys. Yes.